Okay, so we're going to be taking a look at another one of the posts on the Korean Mabinogi Eternity project site. So I would like to talk about texture production during the process of remodeling Turconail, where Militians will live. If you change the engine to Unreal, the background graphics will have to get better. Wouldn't it be possible to make it respond to real-time light by adding normal, roughness, and specular so that the characteristics of each material stand out? I'll make all the backgrounds you've wanted to make for a while. The will to create a truly fantastic background was sparked. However, our Mabinogi isn't like this. I worked too hard on sculpting using graphics tools, but it didn't have the hardwood feel that Mabi has. When I strengthened the normal, realizing low polygons with the three-dimensional effect of high polygons, the clear feeling typical of Mabi did not appear. However, I gathered my courage and went back to the beginning and thought about what elements determine the characteristics of Mabinogi's background. Mabinogi is a cartoon graphic. The flat feel of the environment setting creates a unique 2D feel, and the diffuse texture has strong contrast to bring out the sense of mass. The sense of shape and proportion of the background had a simpler and more casual feel than the realistic proportions. On the other hand, the texture was closer to real life than expected. In these cases, Mabinogi's background identity was being added. So here's a good example of like the wooden textures being showed well. And then Avalon clearly shows like stone texture. This was it. More than anything, I realized that texture plays a big role. The unique, clean, and organized feeling comes from the texture. So, I tried creating the texture right away. First, create a shape. To what extent should sculpting using graphics tools be done? In sculpting, shaping using graphic tools, I decided to neatly process large chunks and edges and only add large cracks to the wood texture. Work efficiency is also important, so the wood grain feel was created using alpha in the tool. So here you can see like this is the door to Duncan's house, and this is like the window. We've all seen the preview of his house in Unreal Engine. Second, create a diffuse base color of the object texture. In the past, texture creation was created by combining photo textures with Photoshop or drawing them directly. Nowadays, several tools such as ZBrush and Substance are used. Looking at the Mabinogi texture, we could see that it was close to real life and had a high density. It has a semi-realistic feel that has been processed through photo texture synthesis or stylized texture with high detail. Since it was produced 20 years ago, it had a strong feel of a photo composite hand mat. To reflect these aspects, using the production tool, we used the wood grain texture as a base and built it up one by one. Use the sharpen filter sharpening effect to express highlights and depicted parts more clearly. In particular, care must be taken when creating high polygons to clearly express highlights and shading at the edges. And this looks pretty cool. You can like see how in this picture like the wood is like changing. That looks really cool. And here you can see the front of Duncan's house again. This was it. Although the road was difficult, I was very proud that I had laid the foundation for transferring Mabinogi's style to the new engine. Yeah, it's very important Mabinogi has the same style, and this guy did really good work on this. Like, this isn't easy to do. So on the left we have existing resources, so the resources from Pleon Engine, and on the right we have the Unreal Engine resources. So this is the church in Pleon Engine and the bank in Pleon Engine, and this is the church in Unreal Engine and the bank in Unreal Engine. Making the tiles was also difficult. The tiles also used a texture that was close to real life and had a high density. Think of it as a semi-realistic texture with a processed feel through compositing from a photo texture or a stylized texture with high detail. I tested it out in two ways. Processed through Substance Designer texture creation tool for soil and grass, you can see it here, and photo plus PRB, so physically based rendering, resource synthesis for the soil and grass, so you can see like the two differences between these pictures. How to create a Substance Designer from a stylized feel to a more realistic depiction. Advantage: as work resources accumulate, you can quickly work with tiles with a different feel by reorganizing and recycling nodes. Disadvantage: it takes time to express photo-like details. And photo texture and PRB resource plus Substance Designer and Sampler equals composite. The work speed is fast. Disadvantages is it requires reliance on photo resources, so expressions are limited. So here is another cool picture of Turconale Town Square. This is kind of cool because now we have a closer look at the actual town square area that a lot of us have spent a lot of time being AFK in. So I like the wood that they decided to add here. That wasn't here before. It used to just be all stone. It looks like they added like wood right here and like the four corners. I think that's to make it feel a little bit more like a bench. And you can also see like the brick right there. That looks cool. And you can see some brick over there too. Overall, I think they did a really good job with this. This looks like Town Square. It feels good. We can see everything appearing. We can see all the trees appearing, all the buildings and fences, the water, the dock for fishing. Let's go right to here. This is our first real look at like Turconale as a whole. The only thing we really can't see is Fergus's shop. So there's the healer's house way over there. That's going to be the graveyard. I would love to see some close-ups of what the graveyard is going to look like. Looking back, a lot of things happened. There's still a lot to do, but the style has been established. This is how the background graphics of Mabinogi Eternity are being produced. So this was an interesting post to read. I'm definitely glad that they're interested in capturing Mabinogi's style and making it feel like the same game.